Good evening, guys. It's 9:53, Friday, January the 8th. I just want to talk a little bit about the 2020 elections. Just received this email the other day. Well, it was tonight, rather. It says Chinese Communist Party leader orders the People's Republic of China to be prepared for war at any second. And it reads, Xing Jinping, the Chinese Communist Party leader, stressed that the military forces must intensify their training programs and update their military equipment. He added that the PLA armed forces should increase the integrity of the new equipment while making the training exercises more advanced. He pointed out that he would want to see real-life scenario simulations being used in training programs. It was also suggested that there should be more computer-generated simulations integrated into the training and combat programs. These simulations were addressed as combat realms, and he expects to see more types of realms that mimic actual war scenarios. In other words, what he's saying is they want high-tech equipment ready for war. And by live training exercises, he's going to pick, on a country to pick on to see how good this equipment, runs. It also includes internet sabotaging of bank accounts and stuff like that. Attacking social media, which not only that, but I'll just turn the page here and continue. It says, Xi further suggested that the Army should explore further opportunities for adding high-tech in the internet in its training. The new order for 2021 has been very different from what Xi Jinping had addressed in his order in 2020. The focus has greatly shifted from the mere need to manage crisis and deter war towards having more simulated and advanced combat training. All this is very surprising if we recall Xi's agenda from the very beginning of the presidency, 2013, which was based on the thesis that China will achieve socialist modernization by 2035. See, this is basically their goal. They want to be the number one economy by 2035. They want to be the number one military. That's the reason why they beefed their military up from 2000 all the way to now. And I'll go on here. Need I remind you, people, this is probably going to end up getting censored. Might end up getting taken down. I don't know. But it says, however, given the Chinese president's most recent statement, security goals on the Chinese president's priority scale seem to have overtaken those of economic nature. At the time, the Chinese president seemed to be a further economic expansion of the Chinese market, not military readiness and strategy. Are such statements in the call for military readiness and the result of the global crisis caused by coronavirus pandemic, which many still blame on China, or is it something else? The global community must, despite all adversity and the general disregard for other state interests at this time of this pandemic be aware of the gravity and possible consequences of such statements. So in other words, they're preparing for war. Here's another statement, and I'll just give you the friendly little information that I get this from. It's called conservativesociety.org. They are a media, independent media, like Newsmax, and they do not lie. I have been with them for a long time now. But it says, breaking exclusive evidence. China was concluding with the Bidens and providing information on how to defeat President Trump in the 2020 election. This is basically the information what social media will not report, the media will not report. Why? Because China is in cahoots with the Bidens to suppress and censor any information about China's involvement in the 2020 elections. Okay, it says, despite the media's and social media's hysterically heavy-handed attempts to suppress the stories relating to Hunter Biden, it has been uncontrollably demonstrated that the son of the former vice president made corrupt financial deals in countries from China to Ukraine. So in other words, they have evidence that he has been concluding with China and Ukraine on dirty deals. The evidence is there, folks. It's not being hidden now. I just received this email tonight, and I was shocked when I opened it. Couldn't believe it myself. And it says, thanks to what people have found on what President Trump has called the laptop from hell, we further know that Hunter Biden was involved in enormous amounts of righteous drug-laced sex with prostitutes and even allegedly his own family members. Further looks at Hunter Biden's laptop, though, have uncovered that he was the likely target of a Chinese honeypot operation. That the Chinese Communist Party was supplying him and his family with information on how his father could beat President Donald J. Trump in the 2020 election. Hidden away in a trove of thousands of Hunter's emails, all of which thankfully were saved on the laptop that he left behind in Delaware repair shop, are few email documents, videos, and other encrypted files showing that Hunter Biden was in contact with a woman known as Zhai, also going by the names of like Zhai Bao, Wang Bao, is a U.S.-based assistant and advisor to Yi Jinping, was once the head of a Chinese energy conglomerate called CFC China Energy. Hunter Biden and Jim Biden, the former vice president's brother, were involved in business deals with the company. More importantly, Xi Jinping, his staff, and his company are known to have deep, extensive ties to the Chinese intelligence officials. Xi is almost certainly among those with such connections. Why does all of this matter? It matters because Hunter Biden and Xi are known to have a sexual relationship. It's fairly clear that she was almost certainly used as a Chinese intelligence asset to spy on Hunter to manipulate and extract the information from him. Furthermore, the CCP through Xi was sending Hunter information on how his father could beat President Trump in the 2020 election. A document found amid Hunter's email shows the CCP giving him pointers on how to handle any media criticism that might come his way over his sexual proclivities and corrupt business practices. The document advises Hunter, for example, to insist that he is proud of his time as a lawyer and business executive, despite his utter lack of skill and experience in these fields, and despite the fact that he is almost certainly owes such work to nepotism. The document further advises him to pivot from nepotism accusations and accuse Trump and his family of doing that very thing. It also tells him to insist, no matter what, that his private sexual activities are his own business. But when a presidential candidate's own son is blatantly corrupt and compromised, his activities clearly become the public's business. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. A document stating that they've got documents that Hunter Biden did in fact have sex with a Chinese agent to coerce information and to seduce Vice President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, into giving information in exchange for information how to defeat President Trump. I already said it, people. I knew this was happening, and I told people that China was interfering in the 2020 elections. That's proof right there. I don't need anything more. That is proof right there. That is what the media has basically been hiding from Facebook. They've been doing it off Twitter. They've been doing it off the media, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, all these major news networks will not report any truth on this because they don't want it getting out there. This is Chinese-owned media that is basically infiltrated the United States and have taken our media hostage, basically telling them not to report on any of this. Now, what can President Trump do? He can do plenty right now. If he has this evidence in hand, he can produce it. He can produce this, and he can pull a fast one on Biden. And Biden is basically not the president right now anyway. I don't care if he did win the 2020 elections falsely, getting it. He's not sworn in until the 20th. So a lot can be done now to have him formally taken off the pedestal. There's a lot that can be done. I mean, it can even be done to Pelosi if he really wanted to do anything. The only thing is, Mike Pence was the one that stood in the way. I don't know. From my personal standing, I don't really know how in the heck the president can do anything without, the authorization of the vice president, because, during Wednesday's little fiasco there, with Antifa dressing as Trump supporters and going from the Capitol building from one floor to the next floor, trying to find out where, the chamber was, the Senate chamber. But what had happened was, it looked like, when I saw a video a friend of mine went and, put up, was the White House, not White House, but the State Capitol Guard went and let, Antifa into the Capitol, from what I had seen. His nightstick was on the steps. He did not draw a gun because he wanted this to happen. So somebody, allowed this to happen. I mean, it's not Trump supporters that did that. And it's not Trump that went and incited violence. This was the Democrats that did this. This was Antifa. This was Black Lives Matter as well. They could have been there. But it was reported that Antifa bust in busloads of Antifa members. They were escorted by D.C. police. But make this go viral. I just don't know what to think of an article like that, I mean, to think that, they're accusing President Trump of treason, when it should be Pelosi, Biden, Harris, all them that, should be committed to treason. They hid this. And if they can get that laptop of Hunter's, all that can be proven. But they just basically said in the article that he's concluding with Ukraine and China. And China did interfere with the election. And there was an article recently that, China was up in Canada training with Canadian troops. That is not false. That right there, some people say it's false. No, it's not. They are indeed up in Chinese troops. PLA soldiers are, in fact, in Canada training with Canadian troops. I don't know what for. I'm thinking when there's a civil war in this country, Biden is probably going to call upon them. That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not certain. Is there going to be a second civil war? There most likely will be a civil war, and the reason for that is because, these anti-gun grabbers, they're pushing for gun confiscations nationally. They are, Second Amendment, anti-Second Amendment supporters. They want everybody that has a gun, to not have a gun. I mean, I've even heard some of the, Democrats, say, well, what's the use having a gun when you can, just use non-lethal? What's basically going to happen is when they do come after those guns, there's going to be the start of a civil war. I mean, they're going to start with the ATF, going from door to door, and that's what's going to kick it off. If they force their way in, they're just eventually going to start a civil war. I mean, it's pretty plausible, but if they do show up at a person's house, you don't have to answer that door. And if you do answer it, don't open it all the way. Just tell them that, hey, I'm not saying anything until I speak to a lawyer. a firearms lawyer or something like that, an attorney. But yeah, I just wanted to share that little article with you guys and see what you thought of it. I mean, it looks like, this country is pretty much, I mean, pardon my language, but it looks like this country is pretty much fucked, if you ask me. And from what I just read, China has been sticking their nose in from the very, very beginning. Especially when the hunters slept with that Chinese secret agent that was sent over here from the president of China to seduce and get him on her side. That's pretty damn rotten, dirty trick. And the fact that they want to use Chinese hackers to ultimately go on a cyber attack in the United States. And China has been doing this for, as long as they've had the internet. They've been training, people to, go on cyber attacks and, hack people and stuff. But yeah, this is just one big headache after another for me. I mean, especially when I, witnessed what I witnessed on Wednesday, and people had, blamed Trump supporters. And I was on a site the other day. There was 1.8 million of us, actually almost 2 million. And it was on Facebook, and it recently got taken down again. They've been censoring us. We've been getting nothing but Biden supporters that come in there that harass us and all this and that. But it was called Joe Biden is not my president. And we had people basically, reporting our page and reporting, conservative views and whatnot. And, it was just, people causing trouble. And I think some of the darn infiltrations that we had might have likely been Chinese agents. I really can't tell, but I wouldn't put it past them. But, yeah, they were trying to get conservative pages, for the president taken down and their views. And, they even try to go against Candace, Owens, and say that she is, this, and that. And then she had a lawsuit recently with Facebook censoring conservatives, and she won that case. But I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of this censoring, once it even gets out there. The CCP are going to be, censoring a lot of conservatives. There's going to be a lot of conservative media that's being shut down because of this. But, yeah, I just, for the life of me, I'm glad I shared this. Maybe most of you seen this, but it was it was pretty shocking when I seen it. And I would love to see those emails that he had, backing the story up. But, yeah, I think we're, if Biden does get in there this year, because he's got, 12 days left to his inauguration. Russia's basically the only country that is not supporting Biden. He does not believe he's the president. and maybe a few other ones. But I think what we're going to start seeing is, Biden's going to lock this country down. And then his Second Amendment, anti-gun, whatchamacallit. He says he's going after AR-15s. AR-15s make practically about 75-80% of the firearms up that anybody owns. And they're not going to allow him to just, take their firearms. I mean, last time I checked, I think there was 350, million firearms out there. So I don't know. I don't know the approximate range of firearms, but it's got to be a heck of a lot. But I guess we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't counting on, another socialist to come in there and, screw the works up like, Obama did in his first term. And then, his second term, he tried to ban, weapons completely. Oh, I remember that. But what I also like to talk about is, Article, 416, from what I had seen and on the website, the New York Senate. A bill was just, I don't know if it's been signed into law in New York City, New York State, rather. I don't know if it's been signed into law there, or it's been, I know it's been introduced, and Governor Comey introduced it, all these Democrats did in New York, but it's a bill pertaining COVID camps. Basically what these camps do is they detect if a person's taken the COVID-19 vaccine. It's kind of like, from the headline when I seen it, it was like COVID-19 concentration camp or death camp or, something like that. But they're talking about, putting people in there. They're wanting to put them in there if they didn't take the vaccine. And, I kind of read through it and I closed it. I mean, an unconstitutional bill like that, it's going to grab, attention. I mean, maybe not the media's attention just yet, but it most definitely is unconstitutional, because you can't force a person to do what they want to do. I mean, but Democrats, they don't really care about this. They want it done by a certain time. What it basically states is if a person does not get the COVID-19 vaccine, they're going to jerk you off a street. They're going to confiscate, any documents that you've got. They're going to hold you at this camp until you decide that, okay, you're going to take the vaccine. And they'll hold you either in a medical facility or one of these camps until they see fit that you're ready to be safe amongst society. And, when I hear them speak something like that, it tells me right then and there that people really are going to all the more resist getting the shot. What they're basically going to say is, we're not going to get that shot because you're threatening us. If we don't get it, you're going to hold us in I want to say concentration camp, but probably not the right word for it. Maybe an intern camp is. But they're going to hold you there for a certain amount of time until they see you take this shot. And yeah, they proposed this. It's called Article 416. The United States, Senate in New York has already proposed this bill. You can go look it up if you don't want to believe me. I don't want anybody taking my word for this. But it's called Article 416. I read right through it, and I was disturbed on what the details were. They're basically going to jerk you off a street, hold you as hostage, just so that you take that vaccine. And if you don't, they're going to hold you against your will. They're going to say, well, you don't want to take that vaccine. What's going to happen is we're going to hold you because you're a danger not only to yourself, but you're a danger to society. They're going to say, well, this is a spreader, and, this is the reason why we're holding you in this facility. There's going to be one hell of a lot of people in the facility if this is what they're planning to do. But I don't think they were hoping to getting this out there, but one of the conservatives that I follow on YouTube, he's called Heavy Duty Country, he put this article out there, and I thought, well, what's this? And I went and, browsed through it. I didn't think it was real until I got to the end of it, and, I was disturbed. But, yeah, I really pray for this country. I really do. I mean, it's definitely going to burn and possibly, suffer more from the wrath of God the way, it's taken a turn for the worst. And in light of Wednesday's events, I'm still saying it's Antifa because Antifa was being bussed there, and they even had a video of Antifa being bussed by police, escorted there at the state capitol. And it was warned in the Facebook group that I was in. Most of those people were going there. And it was warned that Antifa was going to wear Make America Great gear. They were going to blend in with the crowd. They were going to cause some sort of trouble. Maybe beat up on people. It was said in another comment that they were out for blood and they were going to blend in and start beating up on Trump supporters. Not to separate from the group, and that they were being disguised as Trump supporters. So there you go. In height of that event that went on Wednesday, those were not Trump supporters to me. They wouldn't do that. I mean, and Trump supporters don't wear... I've not hardly seen any of them wear masks that much. Some of them, but a majority of them will not. They think this, virus is a hoax. I mean, I mean, I don't know what to think anymore, but, you know, I just... I mean, do I think there's a civil war coming? Yeah, I think there is. I think it's an 80% to 90% chance that we're eventually going to break out in a civil war, and Biden's going to call on his cronies to help him out, and Trump may call on the Russians or somebody to help him out. I don't know. I really don't know, but Indiana right now, you know, it's basically on the firing line. You know, we're surrounded by you know, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, I believe, I don't know, Kentucky's there or not, but yeah, if we were to go to civil war right now, what would happen is Indiana would most definitely get overrun, and it would shift back and forth to the front line. What people are not realizing is it's not going to be like that. What it's going to be like is neighbor versus neighbor, friend versus friend. You know, it's going to be, you know, like it was during the first Civil War. Only thing is, it's not going to be like, you know, we're marching to a battle line or something like that. It's going to be bloody to bloody house warfare. People are going to be shooting each other's houses up, killing each other. I don't want to say it, but, you know, we're looking at a different type of warfare here. And it's going to be Trump supporter against, you know, Biden supporter. And if somebody doesn't pick a side, what is going to happen is they're going to make you pick a side. They're going to say, well, are you for the liberals or are you for the conservatives? You can't have both. They're going to make you pick sides. It's going to be like, you know, a civil war. It's going to be like the Revolutionary War. It happened there. We, you know, had to pick sides. But, yeah, I'm going to end this video. It is 10:30 and I'm getting a little tired. But I thought I'd just, you know, share this with you. See what you guys thought. Let me know in the comments what you think. I mean, I seriously think that if we don't do something and do it fast, this country is gone. We've got 12 days to, you know, do something. Pelosi, the Democrats, they really don't have the power like the people think. Like they think. The people are the ones that have the power. We have the power to get them in. We have the power to get them out. Only they don't realize that. They've forgotten that. They have forgotten the fact that, okay, they are elected in to do a job. If they're not doing it, then they need to leave. They need to leave. And in fact, if you have to do it forcibly, do it forcibly. But do it the right way.